This will be recorded for educational purposes. Our presenter today is our technology and business consultant, Rachel Majors, and I will go ahead and turn it over to her. I will be posting in the chat some connections that you could make for information on either becoming a client or future events. And also, Rachel will be providing some other materials that I will send to you through email. But I will go ahead now and turn it over to Rachel. Thanks, Rachel.
Perfect. Thank you. Share my screen. Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for coming. Today we will be talking about Google Business for small business owners. You're all small business owners, but I say that because we often find that when consulting our clients on a lot of the bigger technology platforms, there's a little bit different application for our small business clients. So first, just a little bit about me. I am an NWA native, moved around a lot for my mom's job with craft food. So we just moved wherever they needed us. But my family's always been in Arkansas, and I came back here for school 10 years ago at this point. Stayed ever since. So I live here with my husband, Nick. We got married in May, and my 2 wild dogs down there. I love being outside. That's one of my favorite parts of this area, just getting to interact with nature and all the good things we have here in the Ozarks. I love dogs, any dogs. If I talk to you, I'll probably ask you about your dog. And then my professional focus has always been in digital marketing. I've been in B2B and B2C, but always what I end up leaning towards is proving work through analytics, budget optimization, working with a lot of startups. So we don't have a lot of budget, like what can we get for a little bit? And also really focusing in strong organic tactics. And that all, SEO falls into all of that. SEO, search engine optimization, which I always educate my clients throughout the center. There's a little bit of SEO that we'll be talking about with Google Business Optimization too. And then overall, I just have a passion for helping small businesses. I think we live in a really unique area where small businesses can thrive. And it's really exciting for me to be able to connect with all of you through the center. So managing this whole presentation is managing and optimizing your Google business profile. So it's great if you have one. If you don't, let's get one set up. There's instructions in this deck that we'll send out afterwards. And then I have a full Google business guide that walks you through the steps with links. And then if you guys have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to put them in the chat. And if I don't see them, I'll address them in the question portion towards the end. Okay, so what is Google Business? They used to call this Google My Business, took out one word, but it's an easy to use tool for businesses and organizations to manage their online presence across Google. So most of the time, if you are in the Google search engine and you say food near me, you're going to see those first few listings that have a little maps guide next to them. That's a Google business listing. And so Google has really prioritized this as one of their top sources for local SEO. And that's why we really encourage our clients to focus in it. Helps you manage your information in Google Maps so that people can find you in maps or search. Google's kind of allowing users to use Google Maps as a search platform now. That's one of the primary ways I use it. And so we want to make sure that everything is up to date so that if someone is trying to discover our business, we're able to be found with our accurate information. And then on the flip side, if someone knows where we are and they need to find directions to us, that's easy for them as well. It's also a great place to interact with customers. So we all know that reviews are really important to the customer decision-making process. Google is a great review platform. So people are making their decisions based on what other people are saying, and so we want to be able to foster positive reviews, address negative reviews, which we'll talk about later on in the presentation. And reviews are also a really important part of allowing Google to know that you're a business worth driving traffic and users to. Google is definitely going to prioritize a site or a Google profile with, a higher review rating than everyone has given them 1 stars. Google kind of does a lot of work for consumers and users on the front end. And so we want to make sure we're playing nice with the platform. And then I also really love the platform for understanding and expanding your presence. So there's some really great insights that we'll talk about towards the end of the presentation to learn more about your customers, your potential customers, how people are finding you, on what devices, all of these really important things that we need to know in order to meet our customers and potential customers where they are. Okay, so why Google Business? There are other platforms that we will encourage our clients to be on too. You'll often hear of like Bing Places, Yelp, Nextdoor. Those are great too. We're focusing on Google because Google is one of the major search engines, and you need to be where your consumers are. Google Business is free. It helps you play nice with Google. Honestly, I kind of call it this Google game of like, the more Google platforms you're using, the more Google seems to like you sometimes. It is one of the best sources for local SEO. So capturing those near me searches, food, Fayetteville, Arkansas, cocktails, Bentonville, Arkansas, those more local searches. We all use this a lot when we travel. Like, I don't know how I would survive without Google Business profiles for traveling. It's often quicker and easier to optimize your Google Business profile than your website as well. So we often see that when you're optimizing your website, you'll see about 3 to 6 months before it really starts picking up. There's a lot more competition. There's a lot more technical aspects of SEO on your website. Google Business, if you do it right with the correct keywords and information, it can be a really quick source of truth on the internet. It allows you to help drive people to your website, gather customer reviews, post your hours, your location, any specials that you're running, you need to update your special hours. You have to go pick up your kid early from school on Tuesday and you have to close the shop. Let's communicate to our customers. We can use Google Business to really set a precedent for our customers to know that that's the one source of truth that they can come to. It's also really important, hours are a huge thing, because if people are relying on coming to your business, they put the address in Google Maps, it will tell them hey, this business is going to be closed by the time that you get there, or they have special hours today. And that's really important. It can also help you put your menu, products, and services out for customers in just a different way. And so we have to kind of, in this idea of content marketing, we have to have this always on approach. And so we have to assume that some people may never get to our website. Some people might find our business on another platform. They might only talk to their friends. If we can put our menus, products, services, all of the information on our Google Business profile, it helps, one, Google know about our business, and two, helps your customers be able to make a decision easier up front. If your profile is, well written, they can get everything that they need, they might not need to consider another competitor. And so it's a competitive game as well. And then it allows you to post updated photos and allow your customers to share photos. So there's a huge visual aspect in evaluating a business or service. And so I think that's really important too. What does your storefront look like? What does the inside of your store look like? Have you made some renovations or updates that you want to show off? Showing people in your store, just make it feel really welcoming. And, especially after COVID, people are kind of using the internet more than ever to pre-shop or get a preview of somewhere, is this worth going to before you ever go? So that can be a really important part of it. And then I kind of advise clients to think of Google Business as a secondary website or an additional social media platform. So it's definitely something that we don't want to ignore. If you're updating something on your website or social, or something that people are asking you about a lot, definitely encourage you to consider Google Business in that update cycle. And then once you have a Google Business platform or profile, you can connect it direct to Bing Places. So Bing is one of the other main search engines, they kind of will just piggyback off of Google, but you can just connect them really easily. The main benefit of Bing Places is normally Bing is the default search engine on like a PC, or not really Android anymore, but some devices automatically have Bing installed. So just easy to keep it there. I'm going to look at the Q&A really fast. Okay, we're good. And then this is how to get started. And again, I will give you the guide. You'll have all these live links. But you will either need to create a profile or verify your profile. So you just have to go to this link basically to figure out which route you have to take. It's super easy. They'll walk you through a few things. You do not have to have a physical location to have a Google business profile. So we'll see like quilters or accountants or people who maybe work outside of their home. Like, I don't want to drive people to your home if you don't want them to come there, right? So once you sign up for your account, one of the questions is like, do you have a physical location? And you can choose to show the address or not if you prefer. The benefit of it is if you are running a business out of your home and you don't have a physical office, retail, brick and mortar space, people can still find you. You can still be in the running against your competition, and that's really important. One thing to note is that once you claim your profile or set it up, you will have to verify it. And so we've heard feedback from clients that they're getting the verification process a few different ways. It can be a postcard, or we've heard some like they have to send in a video. The main thing is that Google is just trying to keep spam off of the platform, and they want to verify that you're a real human with a real business. It's super easy. But if it tells you that it's sending a postcard, just be on the lookout for that, because you do have to have a code to verify that. The next is customizing your account. We can kind of use the word customizing and optimizing interchangeably at this point, but these are the few places that you'll want to update information for customers and Google to learn more. And I'm going to say and Google a lot throughout this presentation because it's really important for us to be succinct with Google and teach Google who we are. We put a lot in their hands, and we want the search engines to recognize our business and serve us to our potential and current customers. So in your profile, if you go under info, you'll see these options that I've bolded. The ones I bolded, I think, are the most important and the ones that you definitely need to focus on. Most of the time, you can optimize a Google business profile in 15, 30 minutes. It's really easy and quick to do. So the first thing is your address. So where do you exist? That needs to be accurate. Your service areas. So if you are a local only company, I would put in the main like NWA cities. Because we want people to be able to find those in Northwest Arkansas searches as well. If someone's in Fayetteville, it's totally reasonable for them to drive up to Bentonville for certain services or products. So we don't want to lose those regional searches. And then if you have a local and a national presence, you can also set your service area to United States if you want. It really just depends on the nature of your business. I would just be very careful that if you're putting like pickup and delivery or those more physical aspects that are not available to your nationwide audience, just be clear in those in your profile. Our hours and special hours are super important. So when can people visit us? When can they call us? When are we open? Setting your regular hours, if those ever change, you want to go back into your Google profile and update those. I kind of just add Google Business as my usual update list. Like, I know I need to go update my website, Google Business, my social media, maybe my Nextdoor profile, and just kind of have that running checklist ready of everything you need to update when there's a change to your business. Special hours are those holidays you're not working, you're taking a vacation, you're sick, so you have to close the shop or your business early, like whatever your customers need to know. to plan, basically. Your menu, there's a menu option on there if you want to add that. I think that's really easy because if I go to a search like I have over here on the right-hand side, restaurants near me, restaurants Fayetteville, Arkansas, I can just kind of preview a menu of like, oh, yeah, I was craving this and they have it, let's go. Or, ooh, that dessert sounds really great, let's go there for dessert and we'll plan dinner for somewhere else. Just with how many businesses and how many accounts are on the internet, anything you can do to make it easier for you to make a decision, I think is a big value. A pickup link. So we saw this a lot during COVID. Businesses would set up a separate pickup order link or website. So you might have always run your brick and mortar just with your POS and you never did pickup. And in 2020, you had to change that. So you set up a Square site through Weebly or something, and that's how you do your pickup orders. You can link that as an additional URL on your Google Business profile. Someone can go place their order for a coffee or a croissant, and that's easy. You can also update your characteristics about your business, and so Google likes to know these as well as consumers. So any kind of identifying thing about your business that you want consumers to know: women-owned, LGBTQ owned, minority owned, those are a few options that are in the profile. Do you have Wi-Fi? What payment do you take? What service options? Again, just being very clear with your customer up front. And then your business description is one of the most important parts. So I think I get into this a little bit later, but this is where Google will pull keywords to serve your profile to people who are looking for a service like yours. So, are you a restaurant? We want to type a little blurb in there that's like, American Fare restaurant located in Fayetteville, Arkansas, serving XYZ, just kind of your little elevator pitch, but we want about your business, but we want to be sure that we're including keywords that we know our customers are looking for. And so this is a silly example, but we'd want to use restaurant rather than food place or something. Like, use the terms that people are using. We often want to consider our customers' keywords over our industry keywords. So we all work in our industries day to day. We're using these keywords, buzzwords, things that make a lot of sense in our heads that our customer never knows to search for. And so we want to be sure we're using something someone is putting into Google. And this is how we can help ourselves understand that. So here's where this little idea of SEO and our keyword research comes in. These are just a few free tools that I use and help my clients use for keyword research for optimizing their Google business platforms. These are all free. They're all on the internet. Just kind of gives you an idea of how you could be positioning yourself. So the first is always competitor research. Inventory how your competitors are positioning themselves online. If you are a dog trainer, that's a pretty standard keyword. Dog trainer, dog training, obedience training. Like, go and see what your top competitors are positioning themselves as online, and you can work that into your services and your categories in Google Business, and then as well as into your description. You'll also, back on this page, you'll see that when I typed in restaurant, you'll see restaurant bolded throughout this screenshot. That's because someone in a review said restaurant. And so that is a huge benefit too. If your customers, you can't tell your customers what to write in a review, but naturally they will often do it. And that really helps your Google standing as well. I think one section I forgot on here is your business category. That's under info as well, but that will kind of help you. That's where you would set like boutique, restaurant, dog trainer, hair salon, your category of business. You can set a bunch in there too. It's very thorough. So that's another important part, and I'll update this deck with that as well. So competitor research, going back to that. So just Google around, see what people are saying. We want to be competitive and show our value above competitors, and you can do that through Google Business. I would look at their Google Business profiles and their website as well. I mean, we're going to stress this no matter what in marketing and business ownership, just to know what's out there and know how you add up. Basically, like, you're probably doing something above your competitors. Let's make sure our customers and potential customers know that. The next is Google Trends, and I have a sheet or a screenshot after this of it, but Google Trends is free and it's really fun to use. So you can go on and put actual like search terms in there. So you might be between boutique and women's clothing store for your keywords. And you can go in Google Trends and kind of understand regional and national search data. This helps us understand like the accepted keyword or search term basically by our users. And so we found, like, we have some clients who are very Arkansas specific, and we've been talking through our keywords and we're like, we say things a little different in Arkansas than they do in New York, or we might use a different keyword for a local search in Arkansas than we would somewhere else. And that's pretty neat to see through this. So something to play around with, but this is just a little comparison I did between bakery and pastry shop. And this is kind of what I'm talking about in considering your customers' keywords. And so we just want to, this is a nice little gut check. We might call it the cake store, but most of the time people are searching for a bakery, and Google will kind of categorize businesses in a certain way too. And so this is just a neat way to look at that data. At the bottom here is that regional data I was talking about. So sometimes you'll see it in like the East Coast will light up with a different keyword than the rest of the country or something. It just depends. The next tool is the Keyword Planner. So this is through Google Ads, which is free to set up an account, and the Keyword Planner is free. And so this is just a little example of just understanding what people are looking for and keywords related to the keyword that's in your mind. Kind of want to be in that like lower competition, higher monthly searches type area. But again, you can see I search bakery and I might need to add something like, if I focus in cakes, I might need to add cake shop into my business description, but that's not my main category of search that people might be finding me through. Same thing with cupcakes. Like, if I don't sell cupcakes, then I don't need to say that I'm a cupcake store. Like, we want to be very specific in our information. And then next is related searches. So you make a Google search, you scroll down, it's normally in the middle of the page. You'll see this related searches. I really like this because it tells you, this is normally like someone Googles something, they click down here in related searches, and it kind of sends them on this little trail of information. And so just something to know, like, people are searching for bakeries in Fayetteville, Arkansas, bread bakery. Like, it's just giving you different ideas of how you can position your business in an accurate way. Setting your service area. We kind of talked about this before, but just where do you want your business to show up? This depends where you can service people. Some people are going to be brick and mortar only. They only have a physical location. Just stick with those regional sources. So setting these is very important though. It's super easy. Just don't ignore them. Oops. And then replying to reviews. So like we talked about before, reviews are a major part of the decision process. And it's important to reply to every review, whether it's positive or less than positive. Less than positive is a nice way to say negative. And so we often have this kind of gut reaction to not want to publicly reply to a negative review. We just want to hide it. That's not always possible. I think that by replying to a negative review, you can really show your level of service and the way that you value your customers. So if someone leaves a less than positive review, and we go on there and we're like, thank you for sharing your experience. Like, this is not a normal occurrence for us. We'd love to reach out and talk to you about it. Email us at whatever, like, show that you're willing to fix that experience or give your customer another try. What can you help them do to realize that you care about them, and that probably was not a regular occurrence in your business. Reviews are also really important because, like I said, Google uses them to pull keywords to serve your profile. And then we get asked about this a lot, Google Business Advertising. So should you run ads through the platform? That's always up to you. I just think that the platform makes it really easy to spend money. They often give you a credit. If you spend $500, we'll give you $250 on your next campaign. I just always want my clients to know the why behind the reason they think they should run ads. It's not bad to do it. I just encourage you to be cautious about it. Like, sometimes Google will say, if you just spend $50 more, you can get these results, and they will kind of, continue to nudge you to spend more and more money when it's not always necessary. So I would say not bad, but be cautious. And most of the time, if someone's wanting to run ads, it can be out of a need for the business. They need sales. You don't want your ad dollars to outweigh a sale, right? Like, what are you willing to pay for an acquisition? And just evaluate it that way. Managing multiple locations, we get this question often. There will be a business who has 3 locations throughout Northwest Arkansas. It is possible to manage different locations in a Google Business Profile. This is the best link. We've had some clients with issues who have set up multiple locations through totally separate business profiles. And at that point, you do have to email Google support and ask them to help you merge them under one account. It's possible, but that documentation walks you through that if that's something that you're experiencing. And these are just a few Google business updates that they're making. So when you log into your profile, you'll probably get a notification that looks like this. It's not changing much. It's just that you can manage your Google Business Profile through search. So that's about it. It has the same features, just so you know, nothing crazy. One option you will have through this is the customers option. So that's where you'll see your reviews. You can set up calling through Google. Messages is something that you can choose to set up. Some businesses rely on it really heavily, others don't love it. I will say that every once in a while you'll seem to get a little spam message, and it's not bad, it's just bots exist on the internet. So if you're kind of a business that people need to pre-shop, or most of the time if your information isn't up to date, then people will message and be like, what are your hours on Sunday? If people are asking those questions, that's something that you could maybe address in this Q&A that Google also has, or put an FAQ up, and then also make sure that that's addressed in your profile information. I'm big on analytics, so Google Business has some insights that I find very helpful. So there's a few different views depending on which view of the profile you're looking at. But this is just how customers search for your business. And so you'll see this little donut chart. Discovery is for people who are looking for something that you serve. So dog training, versus direct is searching for the actual name of the dog trainer. Maybe you've heard of them, you put that directly into Google and it takes you to their profile. And there are a few different ways you can evaluate this, but if your direct traffic is 90% of your traffic in here, that's probably a pretty good indicator there's a really strong word of mouth culture happening about your business. Maybe you ran a newspaper or like a more traditional campaign that then you're seeing people know about your business and they're searching directly for your name, versus a service that Google is serving you for. This is similar. It's just showing you your listing on search versus maps. So that's just how are people finding you, through Google Maps or through a Google search. I like looking at this view just to understand like almost how far people are willing to travel for a business. So I might be located in Fayetteville, but I see there's a decent amount of people that are that are traveling down to Rogers to visit me. This can help you evaluate your advertising campaigns, like where your partnerships are. If you're considering opening a second location, just a little bit of fun, like heat map location data that's interesting to look at. And then again, other notifications. So you might get this little, your insights are moving. If you hit the see new profile performance, you'll see something like this. It's very similar to that information we were looking at before. They're breaking it down a little bit more between mobile and desktop. Mobile versus desktop is important to understand how your website and your platforms are like optimized visually. And so we want to make sure that our websites are always really fast. If people are coming from mobile to our website, like we have to make sure it's mobile optimized, that it's going to shrink down to our phone screen, that it's a fast load time. Can it be reached without Wi-Fi? All those things to consider. All those things are very important for SEO, but that's the biggest thing there. Okay. I have talked a lot at you. Does anyone have any questions they would like to ask?
Any questions, anyone? Here is a question from Gabby. I have my name on Google as Infant Swimming Shrimply the Best Infant Aquatics, but my business name is Shrimply the Best Infant Aquatics. So I guess her question is,
should she change it? That's something that we might just want to look at with you, Gabby. Most of the time you do want it to be your business name just because that is the shortest and most succinct. You could include something like infant swimming, infant rescue. I know you had a few different terms we were talking through yesterday, but add that in your business description. Use infant in there's normally like a category for swim lessons on Google Business, infant swimming, your different categories, and get really specific in that. I would say the biggest thing for your name is just to keep it simple and consistent across your platform so that people know how to find you.
I just noticed in the chat that earlier Allison mentioned that the chat was inactive.
Yep.
Not really sure what the issue is. I see it on this end. I don't see any entries. So if you have a comment or a question, just go ahead and enter it in the Q&A instead, because that's obviously working for us.
Yeah, and then I see Darren said more training on Google Analytics would be very helpful. That's my next course. It's just a big one that I have to plan out. But yes, Google Analytics will be next. There's a change happening too to Google Analytics 4. So we're just trying to make sure that we're educated on the new change and that we can get our clients switched over accurately. So be on the lookout for that.
Any other questions?
Paul said, can you have too many keywords? Yes, you can. So this is kind of an element in SEO as well, SEO best practices, but having too many keywords is something called keyword stacking. And Google can give you basically kind of negative points with that. And so what we probably want to identify your top 3 keywords. And if you have different variations of them, Google is trained and smart enough to know those variations. So like if you are a dog trainer, then you can come up and search for dog training on Google Business. But you might pick dog trainer, dog training, obedience training or something as your 3 top keywords. And a really important thing to consider too is writing your descriptions, writing your content in a way that seems really natural. And so kind of in that idea, like no one talks saying, I'm a dog trainer who trains dogs through obedience training of dog training practices, right? Like even just that sentence is really stacked with keywords. And so we want to write that really simply, but in a way that's effective for both the user and Google.
Allison earlier asked recommendations on hiring new staff and how to use Google for that.
I might need you to expand on that, Allison. If it's as far as like adding users to your Google business, so that they can manage the profile, I think that's a different approach. Or if you're trying to show, I don't know how to answer it, honestly, just depending on what the nature of your question is. I think you can use your profile to, make sure, like if people are looking for industry specific jobs, they might do a Google search of, carpet cleaners near me because they want to work there. You could add a hiring link in there if you wanted to. I would probably just like make sure that hiring link is on your website so that if someone finds your site through your Google business profile, it's pretty direct once they get there. Okay. I'm reading your follow-up, Allison. You need support on how to attract new therapists. Okay, so a recruiting issue. That might be something we could talk about internally through the center, but I understand that pain kind of like making sure you're attracting the right type of future employee. I would assume that, all therapy is very specific in your service offerings. And so I think that could be something that could help. It's just like, is it pediatric, occupational therapy, like not using those super general terms so that people know upfront, if they even have the qualifications for that. I think, there's some therapy clinics who will say, we hire registered therapists in XYZ and kind of name credentials, and that helps the consumer know that like, okay, this is a clinic I can trust and go to for my needs, but at the same time might help in some hiring. I can write that down as a follow-up.
Okay, have we answered
I
all the
think so.
questions?
Yep.
Okay, great. Here is, okay. Is it possible to set up a meeting with you to look at my Google? So if you are a client of the ASBTDC, you should be able to reach out to Rachel or through your consultant, and we can collaborate on that.
Yep.
Just reach out through your consultant. If you're not a client, go to our website at asbtdc.uark.edu and you can get hit the consultation button on any of the pages to sign up.
Yep. And then Allison, I see your note to send info on the Google Analytics course once it exists, so we can write you down for that.
That will likely be after the first of the year, I might add.
Yep.
Okay, if we have no more questions, just like to thank Rachel for her presentation. You can reach out, excuse me, to me with any questions or comments at my email, jpreddy@uark.edu, and I will be happy to send them out to either various consultants or answer your questions myself.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone.
Here is our contact information. Pardon me. Can reach us, get the information through the QR code, follow us on all of our various channels, and then also through email. So we look forward to seeing you at our next presentations and appreciate your participation. Thank you.
Bye.